Oh, I gotta click. I gotta get a live. Sorry.
This is the test. This is only a test. We're on YouTube right now.
Yeah, we're on YouTube. We're on our channel. So, hey, everybody.
Welcome. Hey, everyone. I see Cooper Knight is on. Whoever else is watching. Oh, great. Hold on a second. Okay, I was listening to that. This is a raw test. So anyone who's watching right now, hope you have nothing else better to do, because we are literally just testing this thing out. So we got a lot of equipment involved and a lot going on. He's Will. Say hi, Will.
Hi, everybody. I'm Will with Talk to the Camera here, and welcome to the Talk to the Camera podcast testing episode or trailer or whatever you want to call it, right? So yeah, welcome aboard. And yeah, like Swan said, if you got, nothing better to do, you could check out our testing episode here. But, the thing is, this is a big part of putting together a podcast and a YouTube channel and YouTube content, right? Mm-hmm. Is doing the testing part, is doing the practice and the pre-production part of it, right?
And that's what we're doing right now. We're testing this all out. We actually got an interesting setup. Will is doing the podcast of the audio into Podcast Bean, right? Is that what it's called? And over here in my place, which also, by the way, Will's in Colorado and I am in Florida, and I've got two computers set up. We're obviously in a Zoom call, and one of my computers has OBS running, which is actually doing the podcast or the video streaming to YouTube live. So if you're watching this on YouTube live, it's going through my desktop computer over to my right.
So we're doing a simulcast, right? So we're testing out some simulcasting here, which is a big part of doing a podcast, where you want to do live video, live audio, right? And you also want to be able to publish your content to all the different podcast platforms. So, Google, Apple, Spotify, you name it. So that's why we do it within Podbean. And then on the YouTube side, obviously for video reasons, and YouTube and other video platforms, right, that we can sync it up with as well. So yeah, doing a little bit of both, just like Swan said, testing it out. So it'll be very, like you said, raw, maybe a little rough, but we're just going to have some fun, just, getting through the test and just start to talk about what we're going to be doing, right?
Yeah, and maybe even record a little bit of a trailer or parts of a trailer for our podcast. So we're going to be doing that here live. So if you're watching, you get to witness that in the making as well. So we came up with a little bit of an outline of what we want to cover, and we're going to go through that. Because basically we're going to talk about what this podcast is about, which is, as we said, creating and connecting through video. And nowadays there's so many different ways to do that, so many different platforms, in social media. YouTube may have been the first way to communicate through video to other people and connect with people far and wide. But nowadays, there's everything. There's TikTok, there's Facebook, there's Instagram, it's just, and whatever else is going to be next. So, we're just taking advantage of, what we have here across the country and across the world.
Yeah, right. So absolutely. So it's a lot different than when we were growing up, right? We just had our we had
cans.
Yeah,
we had cans and a string.
10 cans and a string. Maybe walkie-talkies are pretty cool. I remember when a family friend first had a brick, actual car phone that was installed in the car with that huge antenna. I don't know if you remember those, but
oh yeah,
I remember how cool it was. I'd call home and Mom, I'm on a car phone, I thought that was the coolest thing. Or when we had Game Boys, right? And the original Nintendo and all that stuff. I'm probably over the head of some of you youngsters, but it's nostalgic, reminiscent a little bit. Speaking of some reminiscing, this weekend I broke down and I purchased the Tyson fight, the Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. fight. And I just had to, because I had to reminisce a little bit, and it was for nostalgic reasons. Man, that fight made me feel a little old. not
Was it
gonna lie.
disappointing?
Yeah, well, it was almost like, it was really almost like your uncles got into a tussle or something. Like
Oh man.
like at a barbecue or something. Yeah, I mean, hey, I wouldn't get in the ring with either one of them. I'm 10 years younger, right? 15 years younger, but man, they were it was different, but holding on to those nostalgic reasons. But the reason why I'm bringing that up is, we used to have to record fights on a VHS player, right? Now you have all these different platforms. So you have streaming platforms, right? You can go back and watch it again on like YouTube and other sources, rather than, I ended up paying for it and everyone else was like, haha, joke's on you. I went back and watched it, later on different video platforms. So it's just cool to like have that way of being able to connect, through video, through multiple platforms, right? Whether it be streaming, whether it be an audio platform like podcasting that we're doing now. You had old time radio, right? You had AM, FM, and that was pretty much it. And now you have all these other outlets. Most YouTubers have podcasts and vice versa these days, right? Quite a few actors, actresses, musicians, athletes, many of them have, a YouTube channel. They're followed on Instagram, Facebook, a podcast of some sort, right? So it's huge. It's really cool too that you can, basically start your own media outlets in your own comforts of your office, from Florida to Colorado, right? As we're doing right
Absolutely.
now. So
Yeah.
yeah. So what we'd like to do today is talk a little bit about, well, we want to produce the trailer and show you guys that. So getting that down on audio and video, but also, we're going to touch, since this is a trial run, we're just going to do some, testing. We're not going to do anything, we're not going to get into subjects for, an hour-long show or anything like that today, but we are going to touch a little bit, because part of producing a trailer, guys, is putting part of your snippets of your episodes into your trailer. So you're going to see today is we're going to create more or less like a mock episode, in a sense, to get those snippets, right, to cut in. And then also we're going to read out our trailer as well. And then you'll hear the final version of this, or at least the first run of our trailer, here soon. So you'll get to see, the behind the scenes part where we, did the little mock snippets of our episode. And then you'll also be able to, hear our actual trailer lines that we did, and see it and hear it and see it in a polished form, right? After we edit it. So you'll kind of see the rough part and the final cut at some point. So yeah. And then Swan, he has a background in acting and filmmaking, and I have a background in radio. So I did a lot of morning shows and sports broadcasting, play-by-play, stuff like that. So the audio side, the podcasting side, with the headphones on and the mic, this is very natural and comfortable for me. And just learning the new avenue of being able to put this out there, right, is something that I don't know, this is cool. This is fun, we're just having fun with it.
It is. And it just also, so we're talking about like technology and how it's affecting us and everything. I mean, just the fact that, I'm in Florida and Will is in Colorado, and, we're just talking like this, I mean, it's like the Jetsons, right? With video phones nowadays. So, I mean, we used to watch that, or Dick Tracy, who had his watch, right? And now we have our phones, which we can do Zoom and whatever other platform and FaceTime. And, and it's like video is just so much a part of our lives now. Like there's almost no way to escape it, and, everyone is just out there. Because back when, when I was a kid, even before cable television, I'm a little older than Will, but even before cable television, you had like 5 channels. I lived in New York City, and that probably, we had like 5 or 6 channels in the biggest city in America. So it just goes to show that nowadays there's just so much more outlets for content. I mean, I thought cable TV was huge when it came out with 100 channels, whatever, and now it's like, forget about it. I mean, you got 100 streaming networks, nowadays, in addition to all of the thousands of cable channels, and online is just ridiculous for all the YouTube channels and stuff. But I see Cooper's asking, got a few questions for us. You want to field a few questions, Will? Like,
Sure.
I see Cooper's asking about, he's talking about the streaming platforms, how they tie into people's abilities to tell stories that matter. And yeah, I mean, and that's actually probably a good topic for a show. I mean, now that we're diving into this a little bit, maybe we'll do a show about it, just talking about all the different content that's out there, and people telling stories that matter to them. And I mean, I thought it was a big deal when the Golf Channel came out. It was like 24 hours of golf. That's just like ridiculous, But now, I mean, you could watch 24 hours of whatever you want. I mean, people whispering is a thing, that you could just listen to that for 24 hours, So it's crazy, And also he asked, which sportcast did you work for?
Oh yeah, so locally here in Denver, I worked for AM 850 KOA News Radio. So I was actually in the sports department. So my job was to go to the game. It was really cool. It actually didn't really feel a whole lot like work because I got to go to the games and I got to go into the locker rooms before the game, sometimes at halftime and after the game, and record audio from the coaches and the players and stuff like that, and then edit it down and then put it on our next morning's broadcast or that night's sports updates. So that was a lot of fun. I did that for a little while, and then I worked in some small towns, one in Texas and in California, where I did a little bit of everything. So when you're doing radio, especially small town radio, conventional radio, the way it used to be, is I had to do a little bit of everything. So everything from production to, on-air talent, to sales, to promotions. I mean, you're a jack of all trades. So that was cool because you never got bored, as a creative person, and I'm sure Swan can attest to this as well, that, if you're always moving and you're flowing and you're getting your creative juices going, right, that it just keeps you stimulated, right? It keeps you, as a creative mind, it just keeps you going, keeps you having fun, right? And that's what I love about what we do is talk to the camera, but also the fact that we have all these platforms and we have all these different ways, right? We have all these fun things we can learn. There's always new platforms. There's always new ways to get your online, voice, your online, your digital voice, right, being heard out there. And, whether it's with YouTube or even like TikTok and things like that, Vimeo, I mean, the list goes on and on. I'm sure they'll have new ones coming out, right, in the next, 5-10 years. I mean, my son was doing so my son does a lot of YouTube stuff, and he was doing there's Twitch or something. I've never even heard of it.
Yeah.
He
big with
Twitch
the gamers.
Right. It's a big one with the gamers. Gaming, right? Like gaming, recording screens, recording a reaction cam video. That's a big one now. When me and Swan, again, not trying to sound like old guys here again, but we actually played the games, right? And we just had fun playing the games. But kids nowadays, they not only have to play the games, but they have to watch other people playing the games and react to the games. And it's a very interesting dynamic, which I'm still fully trying to understand. And I joke around with my son about it a lot, but it's a very popular thing. And most kids in our YouTube classes, they want to do gaming, and we encourage them that if they want to do gaming, then okay, but we want to make it unique. But if they do gaming, to basically master it, right, as far as the face cam and getting down the reactions and kind of where that all goes into the YouTube world, which is a huge part. You have the TikToks, right, their silly videos and music it started out, Swan, as more of like a music video platform, right?
Yeah, it
Initially.
was originally it was called Musically, and I remember years ago I was dating a woman with a 9-year-old daughter, and she was into this Musically like crazy because she always had the phone and she's doing this and she's
Yeah.
doing her hands and all of that, and then she would play it back and it's either sped up or slowed down, and I was just like, okay, that looks like a lot of fun. And, but back then it was like, it was all about the kids, Now you got 50-year-olds, moms at home, and they're on there and everything, and dads telling dad jokes. And it's just everything from still the 9-year-old kids all the way up
Yeah.
to, senior citizens, and they're all doing dances on TikTok. And it's just crazy, it's just so much, just so much.
Well, and what's crazy too is even when they're little, with their little kids, right? When they're toddlers, they're already, they pick up a device or they see a device. I've seen kids, 2, 3 years old. I mean, they don't want to put the device down. They're dinking around with it. They're playing little, cartoon games or whatever it may be. But there's so much. They basically, the electronic device in the video on demand is in their hand from a very young age on, right? They're growing up with it versus us. We didn't grow up with it like this.
Now, what's really funny is give a magazine to a toddler and watch them, try and swipe to the next picture. They can't figure out why it's not, the picture's not
Swiping?
changing. They're swiping, trying to get to the next picture or try to zoom into it, And it's
Yeah.
like, they're so used to that.
Well, there's like, funny random, Facebook pages I come across and stuff like that. And there's posts about, kids who try to play with the record or try to play a record for the first time, or they don't know what to do with a cassette and stuff like that. And it
Or
just
the
cracks me
rotary
up.
phone. I saw the one where there was a rotary phone, and they had these
Yeah.
teenagers who were
Yeah.
like, "How does it work?" And then they could not figure out how to make a call with a rotary phone. So it's just.
I know. I remember when I was a kid, I used to, like, my grandparents or something. Oh, you don't know how to play Nintendo, or you don't know how this works or whatever. And I'm feeling like, like it was so far away. Like they're like these, old curmudgeons or something, right? And then now I'm like, getting to where I'm kind of getting like that, like a little bit like the music these days, or the, I don't want to become the get off my lawn guy ever, but I, where it ties in, we're joking and having a lot of fun with this, right? But where it really ties in is just how far along we've come since Swan and I have been kids. And the cool thing, though, is the basic principles, though, of filmmaking and on-camera presence. A lot of those basics still apply today as they did back then, right? So that's one thing that is time tested. So obviously we have different technology with sound and lighting and editing equipment. You don't have to like physically cut, film anymore and stuff like that. But as far as, confidence in front of the camera, looking into the camera, delivering with good inflection in your voice, things like that, that is still there. Having that energy in front of the camera is something that we here at Talk to the Camera really, really stress, right? With our kids and our adults.
Mm-hmm.
We're, and this brings up a whole nother realm of, an adult skill, which is being able to talk and present over Zoom, right? Over video conferencing. And more, we're having adults come to us, needing some coaching on how to effectively talk into the camera in a conference setting, right? And it's a whole nother skill now that, that us adults have to refine, and kids are learning at a very young age, or whether or not you're presenting in front of a video forum, or if you're presenting in front of in a boardroom, personally in front of students, right? And your peers. It's, these skills are time tested, and just building that confidence, building that, now it's building that brand, building that voice, which you can do on YouTube, etc.
Absolutely. And speaking of that on-camera presence and stuff, we do have a limited amount of time, so we should probably get into recording our trailer here, right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we're reminiscing a little bit about, the old days and all that stuff. So yeah, let's get back into getting our trailer done, right? So, okay. So, guys, what we're going to do is we have a script laid out. Let me go back and pull up my script here. And, some people have it, the script actually printed out right in front of them on their desk. Others, you'll see prompters. We're just going to do it where we just got it in front of us on our screen, and we're going to deliver it that way. We're going to plug our channel name, right, and who we are, and we're going to talk about what our channel is all about and basically give the potential subscribers to our channels a preview, right, of what our channel is going to be about. So, and we're going to take turns delivering this script. And a lot of what you'll find in basically in a radio setting or a podcast or a tandem broadcast team sort of setup, right, is that there's a lot of give and take. If you notice that me and Swan we weren't interrupting each other, we were just kind of, taking turns and kind of feeding off each other. And we're going to do the same thing here when we're delivering the script. And this is the first time we've actually read and delivered the script. I mean, of course we wrote it and we have the general outline, but we're going to straight up do this live.
You want to do the exact, are we doing it word for word the way it's written, or could we kind of go off the cuff? I mean, because I was thinking of using the outline, just kind of doing it more that way.
Yeah. And guys, something like this, right? You don't have to necessarily read it word for word. I mean, we can definitely improv a little bit, right? So, but you're seeing it live. You're seeing, I mean, we may not get it right the first take or two, we may, say or a couple too many times or whatever. So you're basically seeing this from a very raw cutted version. So we're going to give it a go and go from there. So
what's the worst that can happen?
What's the worst that can happen, right?
Exactly.
With Cooper, basically. Well, Cooper can let us know, he could be our biggest critic here, right? So
there you go.
So I'm going to go ahead and give it a start here. What I like to usually do too, especially you got to, make sure you get some hydration in you. That is a key, guys, especially doing an hour-long show, even a half-hour show, delivering any sort of, video or audio content is you definitely want to have your voice and you definitely want to have water laying around, right? So, so here we go. We're going to go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Talk to the Camera podcast with your hosts.
I'm Swan.
And this is Will.
And on our channel, we're going to be talking about creating and connecting through video. And what do we mean by that? Like things like platforms like TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, video conferencing, the whole gamut.
Let's see. And see, I got stuck there for a second, right? So, because he kind of covered a lot of it.
I did.
Right there.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. He covered it all. So I froze up. Oh, freezing up. I've done it a few times live.
I jumped down to the what you call
the bullet points.
Yeah.
So basically, okay. So what we're gonna do, Swan. So I know there was a little bit of a, like you were like, this is Swan and this is Will, and it was a little bit, I think jumpy
choppy
there.
Yeah,
a little choppy.
We could do a take two.
A take two, and then I would say when we'll be discussing topics related to, maybe you take a couple of them and I take a couple of them or something. Maybe do it that way, or I could just do the first couple lines and then you could do that last line. However you want to do it. I also was thinking we're delivering these lines in more of a structured manner, but I'm wondering if we should also, like, you just talk about it a little bit, right? So we're not just saying we will be discussing related topics to social media and video creation, content creation, filmmaking, acting, animation, and more. I kind of like how you started, like you were just kind of talking about it a little bit,
Yeah.
kind of naturally. So,
Because I figured we're going to be able to edit this, right?
oh
I mean,
yeah,
once
yeah,
we might even be able to use some of what our first take, some of
for sure,
that, and cut in some other stuff. So yeah, I mean, let's
for
just.
sure. And also the power of editing is pretty great. And the other thing that you'll notice with us guys is if we do flub on our words, we will pause, right? It's good to pause at least 3 to 5 seconds between flubbing through words or what have you, because you give the editor, time in between, right, to be able to cut. So that's another thing you got to think about too. And try not to say and as much as possible. I know that's hard, but getting in a habit of doing that. If you're gonna say or through reading it, pause instead of actually saying it. So that's just a little inside baseball kind of thing that we used to do in radio. Is as soon as you think you're going to say it, just pause and just make a habit, even in your everyday life, of not saying and because next thing you know, you're live on TV, and guess what? It's muscle memory, right? You go back into saying it again. So we're going to try this again in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey everyone, welcome to the Talk to the Camera podcast with your hosts Swan and Will. On our channel, we'll be creating connecting through video.
Yeah, we're going to be discussing all kinds of things, but mainly creating and connecting through video, through all the different platforms that you have nowadays, like YouTube, which we're on right now, TikTok, I mean, even video conferencing programs like Zoom and what have you,
Okay. So I thought that there we go. Second take, right? So we got about maybe we can maybe stretch it another 5 minutes, maybe.
Oh, you got to go somewhere, don't you? I mean, we could do this offline too. I mean,
no, you're good.
We gave it a shot at the live.
No, you're good, man. I mean, we can't. I mean, I got a few more minutes. I got a little more time. So let's try to...
I'm nervous with Cooper watching, though. I mean, I just got to admit. I feel like I'm on the spot right here, but that's just...
we'll have Cooper on at some point. Cooper is, he's an expert in many different areas of filmmaking and animation, but one thing that he really has an itch for is digital hand-drawn animation. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing that he's created the curriculum and all kinds of other things surrounding it. And we'll get him on as our animation expert at some point, and great at doing the filmmaking aspect and everything else in between. But yeah, Cooper, don't worry. We haven't forgot about you, man. We'll make sure we get you on board. All right. So, but yeah, with him watching, our one audience member here is, he's a tough critic, man. You wait. No, just kidding. But Cooper, we're going to try this again, and yeah, maybe a little choppy again. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey everyone, welcome to the Talk to the Camera podcast with your hosts, Swan and Will. On our channel, we'll be creating and connecting through video.
We're going to be discussing just that, creating and connecting through video, through all the different platforms that are available today, not only podcasting audio, but through video, but places like YouTube, TikTok, Vimeo, even just personal video connections like Zoom, all of this kind of stuff, we're going to cover it.
And cut.
And yeah, that was, we could do better. I think we could.
We could do
I think
better.
we should come back and do this another time.
Yeah, for sure. But as you guys can see, it takes practice. It takes more than one take. It's pretty rare that you have a one take wonder out there, right? There are a few actors that have been known to be able to do a one, or I've heard of news broadcasters too that could do the one take wonder kind of thing. But this is good. This is good.
It comes with practice too. I mean, a newscaster who's on the news every day,
right,
is getting that constant practice, and they're good at it. I mean, I know when I'm acting a lot, or when I'm studying in workshop, I mean, I host the workshop right now, but when I'm studying an acting workshop, I find I could memorize a script like that. It's just like I could take it, come back 10 minutes later and I got all my lines, because it's a memory thing. So,
Absolutely. And that's a whole subject for an episode, right? Memorization
there you
and
go.
pre-production, practice. Because I've mentioned this to Swan, when I was a kid, I used to think they'd just walk right on, talk radio, and they could just talk for 2 hours, and they would just walk right in, work 2 hours, and be done. Well, that's not the case. There's a lot of pre-production involved, lots of practice, right? Some of these guys, they don't even use teleprompters anymore, hardly, or they look at a script once and they run with it, and they're boom, boom, boom. So it's definitely a skill. And we
Yes, it
definitely
is.
have work to do as far as, the podcasting / YouTube, niche, right? So we'll get there though, guys. But thank you for joining us on our first trial run here. I'm Will.
I'm Swan. And I think we got something here we could use. I think we're going to be able to pull some stuff out of this broadcast right here.
Yeah, I think we can. And I was thinking one other thing. Should it be Will first or Swan first? I was just thinking.
I don't know. We'll arm wrestle. I don't know.
No, I'm just kidding. No, but that's a whole like back and forth thing in radio. They always say, "Oh, I want my name to be first or whatever." But no, I'm just kidding, man. It's all good. Well, it was good. It was good. Trial running with you here, and we will see you guys on our official trailer and then on our following episodes.
Exactly. It'll be every Monday, not every Monday, the last Monday of every month at the same time. So that'll be 1 p.m. Mountain Time, 3 p.m. Eastern on the last Monday of the month. You can find us on Podbean and many other platforms for the audio version, and the video version will be simulcast right here on YouTube. And of course, you can come back and check it out. If you missed the live, you can come watch it later.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening to the Talk to the Camera podcast. We will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Let me